Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. Sometimes the deepest betrayal ends up giving you the greatest gift, your freedom. My name is Charles, and this is the story of how my wife's affair became the push I needed to finally build a life I had always dreamed of while she was busy living hers with someone else. Rachel and I got married 4 years ago through a matchmaking arrangement. My aunt knew her family and thought we'd be perfect for each other. Similar education, stable careers, and compatible backgrounds. We were both approaching 30, tired of dating, and a practical introduction seemed like a good idea. Looking back, I should have seen that as the first red flag. Marriage should be about love, not convenience. The wedding was beautiful, our families were thrilled, and for the first 6 months, we played house like any newlyweds would. But deep down, the biggest problem was clear from day one. We had never truly fallen in love. We were just two people sharing an apartment and a last name, going through the motions of what we thought marriage should look like. By the second year, cracks began to show. We fought constantly about money, chores, plans for the future. Nothing felt natural or easy between us. We weren't building a life together. We were just coexisting, slowly growing more frustrated with each other as time passed. I work in affiliate marketing, running several websites that promote software and online courses. My work is completely location independent, just a laptop and good Wi-Fi, and I can work from anywhere. For years, I've been dreaming about relocating somewhere with lower living costs, better weather, and a slower pace of life. Places like Thailand, Costa Rica, or Eastern Europe, where my income could go 3 times as far. Financially, it made perfect sense. My business was doing well enough that moving abroad would have allowed me to live comfortably, afford a bigger place, eat out often, travel frequently, and even hire help for my business. But instead, we were stuck in a cramped 2-bedroom rental, stressed about bills, and unable to save despite my decent earnings. Whenever I brought up moving abroad, Rachel shut the idea down immediately. Her entire world revolved around her family. Her parents, sister, cousins, aunts, and uncles all lived within an hour of Phoenix. Sunday dinners at her grandmother's, coffee dates with her sister, family barbecues. It was her comfort zone. The idea of being far from that terrified her. I understood her loyalty, but it felt like she was choosing them over me, over our future, and over any possibility of growth. Whenever I pointed out the financial advantages, she accused me of being selfish, of trying to isolate her from her loved ones. When I brought up the chance to experience a new culture, she said I was chasing fantasies instead of focusing on stability. Every one of these discussions ended the same, Rachel in tears, me feeling guilty, and the subject pushed aside for months until I dared to bring up again. I started feeling like a prisoner in my own life, watching other digital nomads online living the exact life I wanted, while I stayed stuck, held back by someone else's fear of change. It didn't help that Rachel seemed to resent my success. Whenever my business had a particularly good month, instead of celebrating with me, she dismissed my work as not real compared to her marketing agency job. Sometimes I wondered if she felt threatened by the fact that I had options. By the 3rd year, we were little more than roommates. We slept in separate bedrooms after too many nights of silent tension. Dinners were eaten with phones in hand, our conversations limited to bills and chores. I worked from the living room during the day. She came home tired and irritable, and we'd avoid each other until bedtime. I started researching divorce, talking to lawyers, and figuring out how to split our small amount of shared assets. But every time I was close to filing, Rachel would have a good week, be affectionate for a while, and I convinced myself things could still get better. I stayed stuck in this cycle of hope and disappointment, too used to my miserable comfort zone to make a final decision. Then, one Tuesday morning, Rachel told me she had a family emergency and had to leave town immediately. She wouldn't give many details, just said it was serious and that she needed to be there. I didn't question her. Family emergencies happen, and despite our issues, I wasn't going to stop her from being there for someone in need. Rachel seemed genuinely stressed, packing quickly, texting and calling family, saying she might be gone for a few days, maybe a week. Secretly, I felt relieved. Things had been tense between us, and a little space might help us reset. She promised to call when she arrived and keep me updated. The first few days were blissfully quiet. I worked without interruptions, ate food Rachel didn't like, watched movies she would complain about, and finally felt at peace in my own home. Rachel called twice, once to say she arrived safely, and again the next night to say her sister was doing better. The calls were short, and she said there wasn't much I could do from Phoenix. Then, for days after she left, Rachel called again, and this time, what she said completely blindsided me. She told me the crisis was over. It hadn't been as serious as they thought. But now that everyone was together in Denver, they decided to rent a cabin in the mountains for a 2-week family vacation. A vacation? Right after a crisis? The timeline didn't add up. And why hadn't she mentioned this cabin trip before? In all our years together, I'd never heard about her family taking vacations like this. I kept my voice calm, told her to have fun, and hung up, but inside, something felt wrong. Her story felt too neat, too convenient, like a cover for something bigger. That weekend, I did something I'd never done before. I started investigating my own wife. Her social media was mostly private, but her sister's Instagram wasn't. I scrolled through recent posts, looking for signs of a family crisis or vacation. There were none. No mention of anything unusual. Then I found it, the clue that shattered everything. Rachel's cousin had posted a photo from a restaurant in Aspen, Colorado. In the background, barely visible but unmistakable, were Rachel and her co-worker, the same man I once told her made me uncomfortable. She had laughed off my concerns back then, called me jealous, swore they were just friends. But there they were, together, smiling. I spent the next 2 days gathering evidence. Not because I needed it legally, but because I needed absolute certainty before making a decision that would change everything. I found more photos, matched locations, and even discovered that her co-worker had posted pictures from the same resort. The betrayal went beyond the affair. Rachel had lied about an emergency, involved her family in the cover-up, and was now vacationing with another man while I sat home thinking she was helping her sister. But instead of breaking down, I felt relief. This was the sign I'd been waiting for, the final confirmation that our marriage was beyond repair. Rachel had made her choice, and now I was free to make mine. I could have confronted her, demanded answers, begged for an explanation. But why? She had already shown me what I meant to her. Instead of wasting energy on someone who had chosen someone else, I chose myself. That Sunday night, I made my decision. If Rachel was willing to abandon our marriage for another man, I would abandon the life we built together for the future I'd always wanted. I got to work immediately. Rachel still had another week away, which gave me just enough time to execute my plan. I sold nearly everything we owned, furniture, decor, dishes, piece by piece to strangers. Each sale felt like shedding years of emotional weight. I kept only what fit in 2 suitcases, my laptop, essential clothes, documents, and a few sentimental items. I closed our joint bank accounts, withdrew my share, and opened new accounts in my name only. I converted most of my savings to cryptocurrency for easy access abroad. I updated my business contacts, redirected payments, and ensured Rachel had no access to any of it. By the end of the week, our apartment was nearly empty. I booked a one-way ticket to Bangkok with a connection to Chiang Mai. My flight was scheduled for the day before Rachel was due to come home. Friday night, I walked through the hollow apartment one last time. No sadness, no regret, just anticipation. I packed Rachel's belongings neatly in storage and left her all the necessary information to retrieve them. Sunday morning, I loaded my luggage into an Uber and left Phoenix behind. As we drove through the city, I felt like someone finally coming up for air after years of holding their breath. I landed in Thailand 2 days later, and Chiang Mai was everything I had dreamed it would be: affordable, vibrant, and free. Within a day, I found a beautiful apartment and set up my workspace. 3 days later, Rachel finally reached out through Instagram, the only account I hadn't deleted yet. Her message was a mix of anger and disbelief, demanding to know why she couldn't access our apartment and where I was. I replied calmly, gave her the storage details, and told her to contact my lawyer regarding our remaining assets. I didn't explain myself. I didn't justify anything. For once, I didn't feel the need to. She tried guilt-tripping me in another message, never mentioning her coworker or what really happened. But it didn't matter. I'd already experienced what freedom felt like, and there was no going back. 6 months later, I'm still here in Thailand, and my life has never been better. My business is thriving, my expenses are low, and I'm surrounded by inspiring people who live life on their own terms. Most importantly, I wake up every day feeling alive. No guilt, no resentment, just possibility. Rachel's betrayal was the best thing that could have happened to me. It forced me to stop waiting for permission to live the life I'd always wanted. If you're constantly shrinking yourself to make a relationship work, sacrificing your dreams to keep the peace, or tolerating betrayal because the alternative feels too hard, maybe the problem isn't your dreams. Maybe it's the relationship. You deserve someone who celebrates your ambitions, not fears them. Someone who chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient. Sometimes, the best response to betrayal isn't confrontation or forgiveness. It's freedom.